so the size of government. So we got government consumption. You remember cigarettes from macro class, C plus I plus G plus X. The G part is government consumption. So how much of GDP does government play a role? That's one of the variables that goes in. Transfers and subsidies. We've talked about take from the rich, give to the poor, take from the unemployed, give to the employed, take from the young, give to the old. Those are all kind of tax and transfer programs along with subsidies. So that's a variable here. How much of that goes on within your country? Government enterprises and investment. So how much does the government play? Do they own like the steel industry, or in some countries that might be true. So how much of a role does the government play in the marketplace? And then the tax rates play into that area 1. Area 2, legal system and property rights. So do we have courts in place? Is there military interference? Legal enforcement of contracts, reliability of police, all of that plays into area 2. Sound money, money banking stuff. We talked about macro, we have a whole class on money and banking. Inflation rate, freedom to own foreign currency and bank accounts. At this conference I was at, this was something new I learned. There's some legislation called FATCA, and I can't remember exactly what that stands for, but basically the United States is requiring banks around the world to report back to them some forms and some data about any Americans that open up accounts in their bank if it's overseas. And in the past you didn't have to do that. So that sounds like it's, well, yeah, it should be that. Those offshore people hiding money around the world, whatever. And that's one side of it. But the other thing is some foreign banks won't take Americans now because that's extra cost to them, right? Now they've got the United States overlooking their shoulder to see who's in their bank and who's not. And some banks are saying, screw that. Sorry, Americans, you're not welcome. So what happened to your freedom as an American because of that? It went down, right? So that type of regulation being imposed, and that's kind of a large country effect. We talked about the small country, large country thing last time. If we have regulations being imposed on foreign companies about their reporting back, all of that tends to restrict some of our freedoms as Americans. So that's the type of thing that goes into this calculation that they attempt to estimate. Area number 4, freedom to trade internationally. So here we got tariffs, right? So we're in the chapter tariffs right now. On the news this morning, on the NPR radio, they were talking about Iran and the type of shape they are in. Look up Iran for me. What ranking is Iran? You can imagine they're not too far up. So don't. How much? 127. So one of the things some of the citizens were upset about in Iran was the tariff on cars, on imports. So guess what the tariff is on a Mercedes? So if they, well, it doesn't matter if it's a Toyota, Mercedes, or any foreign car in Iran. If you want to buy a new car from overseas, take a guess on the tariff.
In dollars?
In rate, tariff rate. 10%. 25. 35. All of those guesses are too low. Ratchet them up.
60.
70. 60.
I said 1.1.
What does that mean?
Over
1.1%? 110? 110 is getting close. 105%. 105%. So if you're going to buy, if the world price of a Mercedes is $40,000, make it 80.
85.
Yeah, 85, whatever, a little over double. 105% tariff. So again, that government policy restricts the freedoms of the individual, right? They can't purchase things as freely as they could before. That's what this index is attempting to measure. We've got non-tariff barriers that we'll get into maybe later today. and then controls of the movement of capital goods. Some countries have controls on how funds flow and where, some restrictions on that. And then area 5 is regulation. So we got 3 main areas. Credit market regulations, remember, is a big area for how easy it is to get a loan, let's say, for a business or for a consumer or whatever. What kind of credit market regulations do we have? Labor market relations, so child labor laws and minimum wage, that type of stuff would fall into that category. And then business regulations. So what does it cost to start a business? A lot of places, a lot of industries have licensing fees, right? If you want to open up a daycare in your house, you got to have a license. Or if you want to cut hair, the government has kind of carved out a little government stamp of approval called a license for darn near everything. Is it so much in protecting the public, or is it in getting a little extra revenue into the coffers because they in the veil of protecting the public? I don't know the answer to that. I mean, there's an argument to be made about protecting the public, but then you kind of wonder sometimes when you start to see where the money's going, and is it actually going towards its intended purposes? John.
I mean, considering they fined one of my good friend's moms for cutting hair out of her house, she's been licensed, but she didn't have a sink like within 500 feet or whatever. They fined her $500 for that.
Is that right?
Hair cutting board or whatever. I'd say it's probably more for Southern State.
I'm sorry, but if you step back and really think about it, like, I think the average Joe, including myself at some point in my life, step back and say, oh, well, that's understandable. You got to pay a license fee. Everybody pays fees. But if you really step back and think about it, you got to pay a fee to cut hair. I mean, does it have to be that way? You got to start questioning those things, right? That's kind of some critical thinking.
It doesn't add up.
So these are the 5 areas. And within the text here, each area is defined. So it gives you some more information about the legal system of property rights. You know, what does that mean? And Jim's been publishing this. It started back in the 70s, and it's added more and more countries over time. So he's been doing this for years. He's known all around the world for it. I just emailed with him the other day. He's going to be at this conference in Las Vegas that I'm going to. So I'm going to try to hook up with him then. So it's a pretty cool connection that we have here at Ottawa to the work he's done. So. Okay, so we can kind of reference back to that. That's going to lead me into you guys using some of this information as well as much more. And I wanted to go back and kind of confirm your countries that we had. Remember when I asked what country you were interested in? So let me just run the gauntlet here. And I guess if you want to change, you can, but tell me, I have it back in my office, but I want to get it down again. Go ahead, fire away. Do you guys remember your countries? What'd you have, Dylan? Germany. Okay. Go ahead, anybody can fire at will here. Taylor, you had Italy? Okay.
Switzerland.
Switzerland for Max. Japan for Jean. Brazil, that was you, Adam.
I had New Zealand.
And New Zealand. Oops. New Zealand. Sorry, I just wrote it.
Denmark.
Denmark. Is that what you want it to be? I mean,
It's one of the ones that has.
I think you said Norway, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe I said Norway. I don't remember.
I don't even think he was here.
I don't think he was here at that time.
The first day?
Yeah.
First day? No, yeah, I was in.
Oh, well, that's why. Okay, what do you want to be? Denmark or Norway or
I'll
what?
go with Norway.
Norway? Okay.
You had number 3.
Okay. If you want to pass these around, this is the beginning of the project that we're going to kind of slowly build over time. And I don't know if it really matters, but I can, I'll try to remember the email. I mean, you guys, that same document I was just going to email because I have a couple hyperlinks in here. Okay, so here's the sheet you're looking at. This thing's on this reduced view. Okay. So this is the Google site that I don't have completely set up yet, but it's Econ Rocks sites at Google, and you guys will each have a page. Okay, so I got a start here, this international, I threw Adam in here. So when we click it, you'll end up having your own page. And then you can cut and paste things from the internet. So you go to a site and you see a graph or something, and you're going to start plunking stuff in there. So some stuff you'll type, you know, but this is meant to be kind of a fun collaborative page that you can maybe not have all the formalities of a paper at this point, but just kind of start storing stuff there. And you'll be able to log in to this, and you'll be able to see everybody's site. So here, Shane Gizmo, maybe some of you guys know, he just did his site. He had hyperlinks. I'd actually prefer for you to have some of the data in there. But you can imagine how rich this can get, that you can have possibly a combination of some links and some things that are right on the site. And some of these things are interactive as you collect data on your countries and look for stuff relevant to them. This little thing's a hyperlink too to Google data. This is public data on the United States. I just picked the United States. And so there's kind of live data, you know, running all the time on what GDP is here and interactive things. So as you guys start to goof around on your country, you can start to find the data. Questions?
What years did that go down? 2008?
Here? Yeah. 14.7 trillion, 14.4. That's 2012. That's the last that it has. All right. So that's the start of the project. So I'll have, ultimately each one of you will have a tab on there. I'll be using your Ottawa email address, and that's how you'll log in. You'll get that information coming, and then you'll go to that page and start building that up. So,
okay, so this we don't have to worry about until
no, yeah, I just wanted to get it in your hands and kind of get you a feel for what we're doing with that project.
But this isn't all of it. This is just 4 questions that we'll have to answer.
Right. Ultimately, those will be the questions I want you to start with building your site with. Yep. All right.